Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. What happens in the sky affects life down here on Earth. The celestial compass shows you how and guides your way with astrology you can use from professional astrologer Kathy Beal. Every episode features her light-hearted, practical forecasts and navigational tips, blended with humor, optimism, and a love of patterns, symbolism, and pop culture references. Kathy translates technicalities into concepts that apply to real life. You'll learn how the current moment ties to where we've been, from the recent past to cycles that last happened years ago, and get a look at where we're heading. And much more, from special topics to special guests. The Celestial Compass, enlightening, entertaining, and empowering. Here's your host, Kathy Beal.
Greetings, Earthlings. This is Kathy Beal of EmpowermentUnlimited.net. Welcome you to another episode of Celestial Compass. We have reached the biggest action of the year. I'm recording this in April. You will be seeing it in April. This is the month where everything finally takes off. If you think things have been chaotic or hectic, it's not going to slow down at all. It's only going to get even more so. And the two big events of the year occur at the beginning and at the end of the month. We have a solar eclipse that everybody has heard very, very much about in the sign of Aries, conjunct Chiron, the wounded healer, bringing up all kinds of issues of aggression and masculinity, toxic masculinity especially, and how we push ourselves out into the world. This is a new phase in agreements and relationships, and everyone is going to be what we used to refer to as a human cannonball. It'll be as if everybody gets their own little booster rocket, and it will shoot far ahead and not worrying so much about what other people are doing. The ones that you're going to be with will catch up. They're on their own parallel journeys right now. The second really, really big event occurs on the 20th or the 21st, depending on where you are on the planet, and that is the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Taurus. Jupiter expands everything in the sign of resources, tangible experience of life, creature comforts, money, and it's meeting with Uranus, the cosmic agent of unexpected change, sudden change, massive insights and epiphanies and breaks and lightning bolts, bigger and bigger and bigger. Don't even try to don't waste any time trying to figure out the specifics of how this is going to play out. Although your life has been tingling since last summer in the area where this is going to hit. And people always say, is this a good thing or a bad thing? It's a thing. It is there. Since Jupiter is involved, it could be completely over the top, but ultimately to your benefit. Keep that in mind. And again, things are not going to settle down for a while, so pace yourself. Know that you're in it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, but it's at the pace of a sprint. So allow yourself downtime, be very kind to yourself, and oh yes, Mercury is going retrograde. Also note this, in the same sign as the eclipse, so hot-headedness could be a real epidemic. Give yourself time to stop and think. It will not be your natural inclination. And for a lot more on this, look at my forecasts at my site, empowermentunlimited.net and Om Times. Also, I have a Mercury retrograde guided Om Times as well. And today's show is going to explore some ideas that are going to help you with all this. And I'm very happy to welcome today Alexandra Sorgenicht, who is probably known to not a whole lot of you. She is a pioneer of intuition training in Germany. She's a teacher and a mentor of more than 20 years and founded the Institute for Intuition Training in Cologne, Germany in 2007, which has now expanded to international and online programs ongoing since 2019. She's also a filmmaker, an author, and an entrepreneur whose career has taken her from the Arctic to Antarctica and every continent in between. And she's also now the author of a book being released this month in Germany, with the title translating to Intuition, How to Strengthen Your Soul's Voice and Use It for a Free and Self-Determined Life. Welcome, Alexandra. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, Casey. Hello, and thank you for having me.
Well, we've had conversations, so people know we have had conversations before, and it intrigued me that first off that this book exists, and after I read it, it drove home that there has been a different approach in the European community, and particularly in Germany, which is where your background is, to the whole concept of intuition than what we're used to thinking about here in the United States. And I noticed that I'd like to start with your own awakening to this faculty. And you write a lot about childhood experiences. Can you tell us about how you became aware that there was something going on for you?
Yeah, like when I was a child, I wouldn't question my experience or my perception. I would see beings everywhere. I would talk to beings. I would see people that are about to die. I would knew that they would die soon. I would see people's feelings. I would see trauma. I would see, maybe also masks, like what people would more be likely to hide, but that was normal to me. I did learn very quickly that it would be better to not talk about it. So I did learn that, but when I was young, I couldn't connect it to awareness. I was thinking there was something wrong with me, like when I was young. So I learned it when I was studying in Berlin, studying film. And I had my first aura reading. I learned, oh my gosh, there are people out there who can do this, who are seeing the same way that I do, and they even earn their living by that. So that was really amazing. That was the first step in, I'm connected. There is a connection out there in the world.
And I'd like to go back briefly again to the what happens with children, because there's a theme in your writing of some of your institute graduates who work with children and a certain commonality of experience. And I had never heard or known anyone who was able to detect people being so ill they were about to pass. But you speak specifically of colors, seeing the colors of people's emotions. When you were
seeing the colors of people's emotions, seeing colors like what I would name now a picture, an image. I wouldn't knew what it was said. I saw stuck energy, which would probably be like dark gray or something. Yeah, but for me it was just a color back then. And excuse me.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and if you want to know about the alumni of my institute, she's the head of a children's school, not children, but the first grade of school, like where they went from 5 to 10. Yeah, the little ones. And she was able to help lots of children who were like having behavioral issues, having health issues, having issues at their home, with the concept of energy being translated in colors. That was very easy for the children to grasp because it's normal. It comes very easy to them.
And you also talk about the role of the imaginary friend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I find it so funny when I read like psychological studies about that, because everybody confirms, yeah, children do have imaginary friends. And they also say like children confirm or know that they are not real. And I don't think that they ask the right question. I think children know that you can't touch those friends. But if you would ask in a different way, I was pretty sure that I was definitely sure that she existed. The friend I had that gave me comfort that would reassure me when I was lost and when I felt sad.
And then there's a concept too, growing out of this, of having to unlearn what you learn as a child, because I do think it is a very common experience for children who are perceptive to get the really strong message that they're very inconvenient and they should shut up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Definitely.
there's a notion of unlearning that you explore.
Yeah. Yeah, this is what the whole training is about, you know, because the name is a little bit not really a very good name in intuitive training, because we are all intuitive. Every human being has intuition. What we do train is, or we unlearn to think we don't have it, to unlearn being afraid of the punishment. Yeah, for seeing and saying what I see, for being aware of what I am aware. We unlearn the anxiety around being unmasked and being completely vulnerable. Because imagine, like, what if everybody on the whole planet would be intuitive again? Like, what would change? It would be very different, because why would one even try to lie or to manipulate? Yeah, it would be pretty different. So that takes some effort to unlearn this fear that comes with the programming. It's not true.
I noticed that you have a very, very practical approach. Not surprising, you're a very practical person, but a very practical approach to
Yes.
the whole concept. And you break intuition down into categories that I think a lot of people on my side of the Atlantic would not ordinarily think of them as. I have a bunch of notes here. So you have a concept of spiritual authority.
Mm-hmm. Spiritual authority. Yeah, that is, you can call it like seniority. That is what we call it. And is it really so uncommon? I thought it was very common.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, to connect it with intuition is uncommon.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, for me, intuition is all about spiritual authority, as the intuition to me is the voice of my soul, it's the voice of our souls. And so it's the highest form of consciousness to be able to listen to my intuition. And my own spiritual authority means, like, I am aware of what I know, even if I don't get it. And I trust myself, and I believe myself in the process of getting what I know and being able to express it. And not having the necessity to have lifelong teachers or believe in all the books that I read, or all the teachers that I have, or everything, but just trust in my own knowledge, even if I don't know why at one point. Mm-hmm.
And you have many stories of people who do that or did that, and everything ended up, they might have been in a situation that presented as danger, but trusting in themselves, they survived it just fine.
Yeah, lots of. I mean, have been thousands of students in the last 20 years. And definitely, I mean, like, there are amazing stories of, like, personal growth and healing, and also, like, literally survival. Yeah, trusting their intuition and being able to survive through that. But even more, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, but even more, yeah, really, like, the personal growth, being able to live their soul. I mean, like, that is even more than survival to me, to being able to live what you came here to be. Because I think that is what is very important, to not only being aware of your intuition and what your soul is talking to you, or how it talks to you, but to be able to live it, yeah, to put it in your daily life.
There's a concept you have of certainty, I think is how I translated it. We'll see how we can. When you tell a story of pitching a script and experiencing a lot of negativity from the person on the other end, and sinking into a point of calm,
Yeah,
and turning it around by not being affected by the barbs or the raised eyebrow that was coming at you.
Mhm.
That's a real skill.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I mean, that man really lost it, and bless him. Yeah, that man really lost it on me. And I mean, like, what would you do? And when you propose a hard project and somebody that you are depending on is being very aggressive and invalidating towards you, it's tough. Like, and I had some worst case scenarios, but he topped them all. Yeah, he topped them all. So there was one moment of severe anxiety, but then I remembered my intuitive tools, and I could, very easy just ground myself. And of course, I mean, if I do it a few years, grounding, it's a little bit different than when I do it for the first time. But that sense of ability to see what his way of talking, let's put it like that, was about. And so I could just stay with myself and what I believed in, and could even stay in the connection with him. So that turned out good. Yeah.
I have heard a similar story from a friend of mine who was abducted at gunpoint in her own home in the middle of the day, and had a bag put over her head, and she was walked to a car and forced to go to her bank and go to there was a drive-through teller, automatic ATM where you could withdraw money.
Mm.
And she had taken Tai Chi and just got very, very, very still and did what they said. And as soon as she got to where the cars were in front of the bank, she just jumped out and started running and banging on car doors. And so I saved her life by doing that. But it was the certainty of, all right, I'm not going to panic. I'm going to just move into a place of deep calm here.
Yeah.
And you have many, many tales like that
Yes.
in your book.
Absolutely.
You have other ways that you have actually broken down the concept of intuition. One of them is perception, which I think is something that children automatically connect to.
Yes, intuitive perception is functioning on different levels. Like one of them is you just know stuff. You just know stuff. You just know maybe that the uncle is lying, yeah, or that auntie is gonna die, or that the pet is sick. You just know it, and even you can see. Do you see? It's not like with your eyes. Maybe it's that are images that are similar, but you can see. Like with your third eye, one would say you really see imagery. Sometimes like in a movie, yeah, you can see what is going to happen or what has happened. It can be all the other senses also through which the intuition, the soul speaks. And then it's a little tricky to distinct what you maybe experienced as a person with the same sense, and distinguish that from what your soul is trying to tell you. That is a little tricky. That needs some training. But yeah, it's all those senses, and for the intuition, it's merely knowing. Yeah.
And to be able to distinguish what is your perception and what you're picking up from other people, there's the concept of being aware of what's going on with your aura, what's going on in your energy field.
Yeah, what's going on in your energy field, what's going on in your aura, what might be like really old triggers that you're not owning so far, where you immediately judge, even maybe unconscious, judge something, yeah, or somebody, or a certain personality trait. And that is not what the intuition tells you. It's just something in your personality that jumps on something, yeah.
But you can also be affected by the energy of other people around you.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely, of course. I mean, like I think everybody has experienced that. You are just like, oh yeah, I'm good. It's a wonderful sunny day. And somebody is calling you, or you just go shopping, and poof, yeah, something is happening, and you're thinking, oh my God, I feel depressed now, or what is this anger that I'm feeling? Yeah, or you're going into, you're pretty well, and you're going into a room, like a team meeting, something, and you feel very dense. And that is energy from others, energy from spaces, yeah, that you even feel in your body. And it's with the intuitive training, it's pretty easy, simple, not easy, simple, not easy, detecting.
Mm-hmm. Detecting when there's something going on around you that you're picking up.
Or also when the energy even came in your field, because that's happening all the time. And intuitive training is a lot about, being aware when energy approaches you or even merges with your own energy, and then being able to just say, thank you. There's something that you forgot in my space. Yeah.
Please take your toys with you.
Yes.
What's the role of communication?
It's being able to communicate intuitive. It touches all the other aspects that we were talking about so far now. And being able to communicate intuitive really means like being able to go to the essence of what's going on, or of what you want to say. Yeah, and being able to in communication, there's very often, it's very often like a little tricky, because we all learn to communicate in different ways. And then maybe you just say something that would be normal in your family or in your culture, US, yeah, and I, as a German, am offended by that. What does she mean?
Huh?
Thing like that. And with intuitive communication, you always looked on soul level, what do I want to say? And what is she saying, or he's saying? And so it gets a little more complex, but at the same time, a lot more basic and easy.
So it's more of the energy of the communication than the actual words, it sounds like.
Yeah, the actual words are important, of course, also. And you have a tool to see through possible misunderstandings. Let's put it like that.
There's a Mercury retrograde tool for you right there, a very valuable one. Oh, and speaking of words, you have a concept of a spiritual hello. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, that is like, it's not something that I invented. The hello is like from intuitive training, like for years and years and years that I picked up. Hello is the spiritual hello is, I see you. I see you. I feel you. It's nothing to change. It's just unconditional. I see you and I'm here with you. It's nothing that has to be optimized. I see you. So that is the energy. And you can use that for yourself. You can use that for your fellow humans. You can use that for animals who respond very well.
Oh, yeah, I imagine they would. Well, also love and connection. You have that as a subpart of intuition, which I don't think many of my colleagues would have thought of.
Yeah. That is isn't it the most amazing part of being human? Like connection, like love and connection, like with fellow humans, or even with humanity. It's a tricky part of being a human, and it's loaded with so much concepts of romance and family and friendship, and also like cultural stuff. And your intuition, again, enables you to get down to your real needs, like not so much the personal needs on a superficial level, but the real needs, like what is the sort of intimacy I want? What is the sort of communication I need? And helps you to connect really on a soul level, and from there finding the connection on the human level on a different way, with less understanding.
And it sounds like that would get around a lot of the romanticizing that we have of the concept of love, particularly from film. Film and TV. There's these.
Yeah, they merely, yes, they mostly stop at the happy ending, right? There's a reason for that. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. It's really like, not a concept of soul flame or soul twin or something. It's okay, but I don't think we need that for a fulfilled relationship. It's really seeing each other on that level that gives you so much peace, even in the worst conflict. And it gives you so much peace if you are able to see each other on that level again. Very peaceful.
And it's a rare thing.
Isn't it?
It is a rare thing. And you feel safe when you run into it, right?
Yeah.
The
Yes.
child in you says, oh, I can say what I'm seeing because you're not going to scream at me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we are, this sounds like a good place for us to take a break. So hang on, everybody. We have a lot more to talk about, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Om Times TV.
Want help with your own celestial compass? Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, for Astro Insight forecasts for each week, month, and new and full moon. Want to explore the personal impact? Make a decision? Understand another person? It is possible. Click the Services tab to book a personal session with me. That address again? empowermentunlimited.net.
Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Om Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Om Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Om Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Om Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Om Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Om Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome back to Celestial Compass. We're talking today with Alexandra Sorgenicht, who is the founder of the Institute for Intuition Training in Germany and the author of a new book on intuition coming out in April by Goldmann. It's a German language book. Everyone pressure the publisher to get this thing into English because it's a very, very useful and practical breakdown of various components of intuition and ways that they fit just naturally into life. You invoke the concept of God a lot, or connect intuition to the divine. Can you expand on that?
Yeah. Thanks for asking about the topic of God, the divine. It's like, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in Germany, I often get, spirituality is okay, but not God. Yeah, because, and I think it's very understandable because it's so much connected to hierarchies and to abuse of power. I mean, like that's overall in the world, like what's happening in the most established Christian churches, speaks books, yeah, to use a German item. In the name of God, so many horrible things have happened. So it's really an intuitive task to find your pure connection, to re-find your pure connection, and to be able to communicate with what you experience as a divine on eye height, you know, on an eye height level. And like when the students in the institute for the first time experience the divine, like the highest existing frequency, I say, yeah, frequency or vibration. They very often really cry, and it's because it's such a deeply moving and relieving experience after having been in resistance towards it for very good reasons for such a long time, and having the feeling to be able to come home to this energy, which means coming home to themselves in a very comforting and easy way, means a lot. Yeah, and bringing that back to your life is a huge benefit. Like what we were talking about, certainty, about reassurance, about calmness, really helps you. This is not about punishment or judging anything like that. It's really unconditional love.
And that's so hard for people to extend to themselves.
Yeah, yes, it's one of the hardest. It's one of the hardest things, you know, like so many people would rather love a guru who embodies that for them, makes it a little easier to project it on someone else than giving permission to oneself to feel it in yourself. And I think, yeah, it is not the easiest tasks. It's simple, not easy. Yeah, and but it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
You end your book with a concept that ties into this that made me laugh out loud when I saw it, which translates basically to "You're God, so behave like it."
Yeah, you know, like that was really my first idea for the title. And to be honest, because I was so fed up, it's like 10 years ago, and to really speak openly, I was so fed up with the glossy kind of spirituality that got more and more sold, like I don't know, a weekend to enlightenment, or I don't know, 6 weekends and you will have 600,000 per month on your account or something like that, you know. And I was, yeah, I think the anger, or no, I know the anger came from, hey, this is so valuable. You know, what is our species? Like, who are we as humans, as the intuitive humans that we actually are? Who are we? Are we the ones who want to become richer and better and more glossy and stuff? Like, being able to connect back to your divine is, I mean, it's bliss. And at the same time, it gives you a certain idea of why you are here. And with that comes a certain kind of responsibility, like for your life. And this like means it's not like, oh, I want to have all the abundance. I mean, look how much people we are in the world. It just doesn't work out for everyone. So yeah, it's very easy if you think it through. And you know, like I was so fed up because capitalism always, takes in new concepts or new possibilities that are able to empower people. And capitalism has a tendency to just eat it. Yeah.
Yes.
And so, I was like, no, don't just get your next car from God or from the universe or your business bliss or whatever. Yeah, really embody who you are. And that is sometimes hard work and not not always bliss. Yeah, and the bliss comes from the work then. Sounds pretty German, I know.
That's fine. Well, you know, you do have one story in your book, a testimonial of someone who found a fairly simple, in many people's view, existence that's ended up to fulfill a tremendous need for other people. Your student who moved to an island in Greece where there's a community of Germans, and she found what they missed most was German bread. And she's a baker and like a patisserie chef or something. At any rate, so she found that making German style bread for the community was something she could do, and she could be in this magical, beautiful place. And I mean, who thinks, oh, I'm going to go to was it Crete? I'm going to go move to Crete and become a baker. Like, no, you don't think of that, but it's just where she ended up, and it ended up being fulfilling to her and serving other people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was, you know, like, I mean, I work with so many people, and there are, once in a while, of course, there are stories that are particularly touching, honestly, because you have a match with them, or because they're just so amazing in what they do. And she was like one of those. She came to me with Crete for a women's retreat. I do women's retreats on Crete, and she was like, you know, she comes from a small town in Germany, hasn't been very, like, didn't study or anything, was in a very, like, small place, like, actually, for her before. And she knew that she wanted to live there. And it was really like, and she didn't get it, but she knew it. And so it was a whole process, like 2 or 3 years.
Getting to the point where she knew that she needed to move.
Yes, and where she said, yeah, she knew it for a longer time, but then the moment she said, okay, it's now. I'm going to do everything now, and within a half a year, I will be in Crete. And so she was. She, not with much money, absolutely not, but with beautiful people, supportive people there, and yeah, just her feeling so connected to the earth and the ocean there. And so she got opportunities that she didn't have in Germany before, and she got a confirmation of her self-image, of her true self-image that she never got before. And that was there in that place where she intuitively knew she had to be. Like, from the first moment on she set foot on that island, she knew. And she's baking bread, yes.
It's a life.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads to another subtopic you have under intuition, which is trust.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, like, for trust, that's a big one. As I mean, like, a lot of us are traumatized in the one way or the other. And so most of the humans I met are very good in having these genuine trusts that we need to have or should have, getting from the first 3 years of our life. A lot of us have experienced interesting things in the first 3 years of our lives. And so this, in German, you would say Urvertrauen, like the genuine trust, doesn't exist for most of the people, I would say. And I have experienced that in the connection with my intuition, and through that with the divine and my own divinity, there's a genuine trust that goes beyond the one that I could experience only on a body or personality level. It's beyond. It's also in the body and as a person, as a human being, but it goes beyond. It's like a very deep trust in me as a being on this planet, in this universe, and that whatever happens, I will breathe till I stop. It's calm. I mean, of course, life does things, yeah, a lot of things. And for me, it's possible to come.
So you come into yourself, into a place of calm, is what I suspect. Since your camera has frozen for this moment.
Oh,
Yeah,
am I back? Can you
you're
hear me?
back now. Yes, now.
Okay. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it's like really consciously reconnecting myself to my divinity, to myself, to being that being on this wonderful planet, like having a bigger perspective and even feeling the bigger perspective than the situation that is maybe scary. That gives a lot of calmness and trust in life.
And when you experience life from that position, it ultimately spills over into how you treat other people.
Yeah, honestly, most of the time.
Well, I mean, we're still human. Yes, you still get a
Yes.
point. But what this is making me think of is once I was doing volunteer training um, for the AIDS Foundation in Houston in the thick of the AIDS epidemic.
Mhm.
And so I was in a room full of strangers. And one of the exercises they had us do was find another person, sit on the floor, and we had to stare into each other's eyes for 20 minutes
Mhm.
without talking, which was very hard. And by the end of it, I discovered that even though I had nothing consciously to say to the young man that I had been paired with, we just regarded each other with a softness and gentleness for the rest of the training, because we had been staring into each other's souls. And people aren't going to take the time to do that, but it seems to me that's a byproduct, a potential of the training that you're doing, that
Oh
you
yeah.
connect to yourself enough, and then gradually you can, oh, wait a minute, God's walking around in the face of other people too.
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. It's like, yeah, what I said, like I go shopping and maybe the cashier is very unfriendly and I see why. I will never look deep because she didn't ask me, so I won't do it, but I see it. I see it and I try to be friendly. Yeah, whatever she does. Yeah, examples like that. Oh, we see producer that was yelling at me. Like I saw his pain. Yeah. And I know how you can be full of rage when you're actually very afraid of something. So yeah,
It's a good cover,
absolutely.
actually.
Mhm.
Well, then there's also the notion of uh, will. And so if you know yourself and you're acting in connection with your divinity, doesn't this change how you express will and power? You have a concept of authority over, or
Mhm.
can't
Yeah.
think of the right English word for it. But
Yes. Yeah, the free will or the intuitive will. I mean, like I love them all, but this is one of my favorite actually, because I don't know if you know, but in the spiritual context, somehow the third chakra can be a little, if somebody's so much in the third chakra, it can be a little tricky. Let's put it like that, because there's where it's our fire, our will, where we are able to get what we want, and I love it. Yeah, I really love it, the third chakra. If you're not judging yourself, if you're not in fear, you don't have to push other people on the side, like to get what you want. It's like if you're aligned, if you're in contact with your essence, with your soul, and are able to distinguish from what you might want for compensation for something, but saying, this is really what I want, like I wanted being an intuitive trainer. I didn't even know that I wanted, but I wanted it and I became it. And it was a very hard way, very often. But if you want it, like from that free will, like that is aligned with your soul, you just go that way. And it's not easy, like it's tough. There will be challenges. And because it's such a complete yes to yourself of who you are in essence, that is what the free or the intuitive will is, that you are in yes, in permission maybe to who you really are. It's going to unfold in one way or the other. Not tomorrow, maybe, yeah, but it's going to unfold because you just do. You're doing what you are, and that is always rewarding.
It sounds so much more honest.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think it's pretty honest. It's we can't, like, I can't put my will out of my spirituality. I mean, why do I became human then after all? I think I am human too because I have an idea of what I want to experience here on this amazing planet, yeah, in that life. So why do I have to cut out a part of that being human to become, who I am? That doesn't make sense to me. So the will is pretty crucial, I think.
This doubles back into something that you alluded to and that you write about a lot, which is the notion of spiritual bypassing, which I think that's rampant in the glossy spirituality industry that you talked about a minute ago.
Spiritual bypassing. It's a pretty, how do you say? I mean, like, it's seductive, it's so seductive. Like what we talked about before, like the bliss you experience when you're connected with the divine is, oh my, that's so wonderful. It's just pure light, it's beauty, and then you come back and you're sitting there and you don't like your legs or your butt or your paycheck. And then you're, I'm going back there. I'm going back there. And you forget to act the way this energy invites you, and this is so important. I mean, it's such a blessing to be able to experience that energy even in your body. And if you make that enough, and if you make that an escape, such a pity, and even you will not heal, you will not grow if you do it. It's just an escape, and that's a pity because you can.
So to kind of wrap up, we have a little time left, but to wrap up some of what you have been discussing with us, well, actually two things. Since you have an international or a multinational approach to a lot of things, have you noticed any differences depending on the country that someone was raised in how they approach the notion of intuition?
Oh yeah. For example, the U.S. because a lot of my teachers are from the U.S. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends in the U.S., colleagues in the U.S. And that is what I said. Maybe I sound German because what I noticed is that the idea of, yes, it's partly hard work. I haven't experienced so much in the U.S., for example. I did experience or hear the saying, it's simple, not easy, a lot also in the US. Yeah. And, like why I also, for me, found it important to further develop what I have learned in intuitive training was, for me, I thought think and still think, and it's very important to do body work, to do trauma work, to combine that into intuitive work, because being an intuitive human, living an intuitive life is just becoming whole. And we can be damn enlightened. And if we have not worked on our traumas, we will maybe a lot of parts of our life will get beautiful, but still there will be this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts that we will get stuck and stay stuck. So this is something that was for me very important to establish and bring into that work. And other cultures, like when I think about Polynesia, for example, I mean, it's so beautiful how very often it is not blocked. in the people I was able to meet there, who just came fluently and is just fluently a part of their life and has always been. Yeah.
Yeah, it struck me just in the little bit that we've discussed this previously before I read your book that there are huge differences in approach. And I honestly have not run into anyone who had the orderly step-by-step system that I see that you have, which gives
Yeah.
people a lot that their brain can hang on to and they can learn it in pieces.
Yeah.
For someone who recognizes that they pick up information and maybe hasn't studied much, do you have any kind of general advice for how to proceed?
You mean like for starting to get in touch with your intuition?
Or how to develop it? I always tell people that the more you act on a hunch, the more your intuition will strengthen because you're sending it a message that you trust it. But that's a very
Yeah.
simplistic way of looking at it.
Yes. Yeah. A very easy one is thinking consciously about when it worked out. When did it work out? Because everybody has this, I just woke up and I knew I had to do it. Like you were thinking about that, like overthinking like 3 weeks, and then you wake up and you knew it. So think about that. And when you do make a decision next time, or when you recognize something, remember that feeling in your body, how it felt when it worked out. Remember that feeling in your body, set a mark in your body. Also, remember when it didn't work out. Yeah, when it was a gut feeling, which wasn't intuition, but something else. Remember that. What was a difference? I think it's a good thing to really set markers in your body. Remember, how do you feel bodily when you are intuitive and when you're not? And then just practice that feeling.
And this might help you distinguish between the little voice, your voice of anxiety, or the actual voice of your inner knowing.
Yeah, it would be at least the first step, like the voice that says all dogs are dangerous. No. Yeah. And thank you for mentioning like all the steps. That was hard for me to really putting a real structure, put it in a real structure, putting it on human life. I had a very hard summer last summer in having this mystical space, putting down in words and in a structure that that is so detailed, and I think could help if you come from a more rational or merely rational level to look at it and to start trusting it.
Yeah, I found it really useful. Anyone from your publisher listening to this, I think there's an audience for it in the English language.
I hope
Get
so.
it into English. and those of you who out there who can muddle your way through German or actually really read it, I highly recommend it. And your book again is called. The title of your book is
Intuition. Intuition, wie du die Stimme deiner Seele stärkst und für ein selbstbestimmtes und freies Leben nutzt.
Which is how to strengthen your soul's voice and use it for a free and self-determined life. Who doesn't want that? I mean, consciously, everybody wants it. Unconsciously, people are fighting it all the time. And so, where can people find you? Where can people find you online?
They found me under my name, Alexandra Sorgenicht, www.alexandrasorgenicht.com. English will be only available from May on, like the website in English. But we have open events that are completely bilingual. So if anyone's interested, you can come to our open events if the time zone suits you. And get an intuitive reading, intuitive feeling, or get an info event, anything that suits you, you're welcome.
So you have online classes and online events.
Yes.
And in addition to going Are you going to Crete again this year?
No, this year is in the countryside where I live. Crete is next year.
Next year, okay. And would the Crete event also be bilingual, or is it just in German?
Yeah, I'm planning it bilingual, also like the Hawaii retreat.
I forgot that there was a retreat in Hawaii. Okay, and unfortunately, this is when you're freezing once again. So we're coming toward the end. I really, really appreciate you doing this, and I want everyone to understand there's been simultaneous translating going on here the whole time. So
Yeah, I did my
big,
best.
big, big kudos to you. I really, really appreciate it, and I wish you great, great success with your book. I know that it's a huge undertaking. And I hope you do nice things for yourself to acknowledge the work that you've done.
I do. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for this wonderful radio station. And thank you. Yeah. See you soon.
Oh, I hope so. And one last thing. All right. You have a Facebook group and there are postings in English in it.
Yeah. Facebook and Instagram. Yes.
All right, so that'll be in the show notes. You can catch up with Alexandra there. And again, my information is always at empowermentunlimited.net, and my forecasts are also double posted for the most part at Om Times, where you'll find my Mercury retrograde guide that you want to consult now because, yeah, well, anyway, thanks very much for being here, and see everybody again in a couple of weeks. Bye.
Thank you, Casey. Thank you.